Oh, hey. Hello. Ooh, boy. Backlit frizzy beard. Shower day is always frizzy beard day. Okay. So I've had a little thought running around in my head that I wanted to get out. And I thought I might. Hang on. I'm going to get rid of that tissue. Ugh. There shouldn't be dirty tissue on the table behind you when you're doing a live stream. Okay. So I saw a thing on Twitter the other day that was basically two people discussing whether or not technology was neutral. And it got me thinking because I have always kind of thought that technology was neutral. Like, I got really frustrated around the time of Donald Trump's election. I got really frustrated with the technology of the internet because I could clearly see that it had been just tricking us all. Whether you're pro Trump or not, you have to know that Facebook was tricking people. Like the pro Trump people thought he was for sure going to win. The anti Trump people thought he was for sure going to lose. I had no conception that the man could win the election. So at the time, I thought, oh, this technology is this evil thing. And then when I calmed down, I thought, well, technology is only enabled, to be evil. I'm going to say some really boring, normal stuff for a minute before going on to like a thought that I think is a little bit more unusual. Um, that technology is only as evil as we make it, and we've seen how the technology of the gun or the missile can make it so that instead of killing one person in anger, human beings can kill 1,000 people. But the problem is still the problem on the surface is still the human who chooses to kill 1,000 people, because in a perfect world there could be a big red nuke button sitting there, and it would never get pushed, right? But that's not the world we live in. So it's like, okay, so I was in the position that technology is neutral and we are messed up. But the thought process that went through my head recently is a little bit more complicated than that, but I think maybe a little bit more accurate. I would love some engagement on this. So the idea is, or the question is technology even a physical thing? Or is technology the intersection between humanity and physical things, and the ways that humanity uses physical things to achieve our goals? Man, my beard is absolutely driving me nuts. That is awful. I'm already live though, so this just shows, I'm not image obsessed. I did not look in a mirror before coming on here. So, is technology a physical thing? And it brought me back to what I've been thinking for a while about art. So we'll switch over to art for a second, and we'll make a picture of art for you and then go back to technology. So I was talking with a friend about what art was, and he challenged me in the moment to come up with what art was, because he and I are both artists of a kind. We both have an appreciation for ugly art. We both have for things perceived as ugly. We both have an appreciation for challenging things. We both have an appreciation for performance art that's offensive. Not all the time, but so what is art? Like there's a standard sort of trope that art must be beautiful, but then you have that old story of the Diabola Musica, which was like in classical music when they started using the tritone, which was a dissonant sound. People said that was of the devil, and now it's in You could put it in a children's song, no problem. And so it just goes to show that art isn't necessarily beauty. Art isn't necessarily even a physical object. What about dance? If you watch a dance performance, is it only art when they're dancing, or is it art when it's in your memory later? And things like that. So I said to my friend, I think art is actually a phenomena that happens in the human mind, triggered by something created by another human, and that's generally what it is, in my opinion. Now, it's a pretty crazy thing because most people think, well, I've got a physical piece of art on my wall, and that's art. And to which I say, kind of, is it? Like, Andy Warhol messed with this kind of thing with the soup can. And I guess if you're already inclined to think that art is a physical object, and you're already inclined to think that maybe, like, you probably hate that soup can that Andy Warhol did, and you're like, that's not art, that's just it's just a painting of a can. But it's like, it really did make us think about what art might be. Okay, so for the sake of what I'm saying now, it's kind of important that we suspend disbelief a little bit. And if you have reservations about the thought of art being a non-physical thing, art actually being an experience in the human mind, we'll go with that for now. We'll just say that's going to be, if that even seems like it could be partially true, we'll continue on to technology, because the thought strikes me. This might not be original at all, but when someone picked up a rock and used it to break something that was less hard than that rock was technology, and it was a physical object, but it was also still fully a rock. Why was it technology? It was technology because a human used it. And I don't think the fact that we are inventing things now, that we're not just picking things up off the ground and using them, I don't think it negates that element of technology. Like, without that human interaction, is it technology? It's a bit of a strange way to look at it. But I guess what I'm trying to put forward, whether I believe it or not, is the notion that technology is never an isolated phenomena. So I'm not saying that technology isn't physical at all, has no physical element, but I think it is the human element that actually makes it complete as technology, right? And I honestly believe, and this could be just me, but I believe that language is a technology. Like, just because it's in our minds, just because it lives in our synapses, doesn't mean it's not a technology. Everybody has seen examples of language both elevating things, and making things better, and language almost hemming us in, dictating what we can even consider, what we can even think about. Language as this kind of oppressive technology. When we don't have language for something, then that's the downside of language. So, yeah, I'm not totally sure where I'm going on this, except to say that, when we externalize technology to the point of sort of thinking of ourselves as anti-technology, I think we all know that's a pretty hypocritical position. Everybody lives with all kinds of technology all the time. So what we're talking about is the advancement of technology. And the advancement of, it does seem as though the advancement of AI is just this thing that we can't not do. It's kind of like the price of oil, where you're like, what are you going to do? The price of oil is what it is, so it's going to cost this much to run a car right now. And that always, or the dollar, the value of the dollar is going up and down. I get it. like we can't directly control and harness these things, and they're all technologies as well. But it's an interesting way to think about it, because under this lens, like I say, I don't know if I believe this or not. It's just something I wanted to think about. But under this lens, technology is definitely not neutral, because human beings are never neutral. And so, if we think about a lot of people are quite terrified about technologies right now. Some believe that the vaccines were a technology designed to make us infertile. I'm not making a particular point about that, or making a line in the sand there. But you've also got the technology of artificial intelligence that's certainly going to change certain industries. It's going to increase the amount of work expected of people, because once AI is just totally accepted, what is expected of you in an 8-hour day at your work will probably change if you do anything with computers and writing or whatever creative work. And so I guess I'm flipping my view now. I'm changing my view, I think, to one where technology is not a neutral thing. It is how it is wielded. It's a sword in our hand. And, I think that the only cure for the ills of technology, and I think that we can make some progress against the negative side of technology, but it is a spiritual change. It's something that has to change inside human beings, and become widespread enough that it affects our uses of technology, and even the technology that we invest our time and energy into creating. And so, yeah, I don't know if this is a thought that is in any way original or unique, but it was on my mind. I thought I might share it real quick on here. Looks like nobody popped in here to chat. That's too bad, but maybe in the future someone will comment on here and let me know what you think. All right, thanks.